You've lived thousands of days, thousands of moments, thousands of conversations that once felt important. And yet, almost all of them are gone, not because they didn't matter, but because your mind erased them. Most people think memory works like a recording, like a camera hidden inside your skull, quietly capturing your life, saving everything, storing who you are. But that's not what memory does, not even close. Because if your brain actually remembered everything, you might lose your mind, and that's where this gets strange. Because the real mystery isn't why you remember so little, it's why your brain wants you to forget. Think about this: you've lived for years, maybe decades, thousands of mornings, thousands of faces, thousands of meals, laughs, fears, quiet moments that once felt real enough to matter. But right now, you can only hold fragments. A birthday, a breakup, a smell from childhood, a random afternoon for reasons you don't even understand. The rest, gone. Not faded, gone. Entire chapters of your existence erased so completely, they may as well have never happened. And that should disturb you, because memory is supposed to be your life, your story, your proof that you were here. So what happens when most of it disappears? This is where things get uncomfortable. Because forgetting isn't a glitch, it's not your brain failing. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. And that changes everything. Scientists discovered something unsettling. Memory was never built to preserve your life. It was built to help you survive. That's it. Your brain is not an archivist. It's a ruthless editor, a brutal filter. Every second, millions of details flood your senses: textures, voices, faces, sounds, thoughts, tiny meaningless fragments. If your brain kept all of it, you would drown in information. You wouldn't think, you wouldn't function. You'd be buried under your own existence. So the brain makes a choice. It deletes, constantly, mercilessly. And this happens more than you realize right now, as you listen to this. Your brain is already deciding what part of this moment deserves to survive. And most of it won't. Your exact posture, the feeling in your left hand, the sound in the background, gone. Deleted before you even notice. But that's not the strangest part. Because memory doesn't just erase, it rewrites. And this is the part almost nobody talks about. You think memories are stored like files, untouched, waiting to be reopened, but that's not how it works. Every time you remember something, you change it, slightly. Emotion edits it. Time distorts it. New experiences leak into it. Details disappear. Others get invented. And then your brain saves the altered version, again and again, until what you remember may no longer be what happened, just what your mind kept telling itself happened. Which means something terrifying. Some of your memories might be fiction wearing the face of truth. And there's evidence for this. People have been convinced they experienced events that never happened. False childhood memories, imagined conversations, entire emotional stories built on things that were never real. Not because they were lying, because memory itself is unstable. And if that makes you uncomfortable, it should. Because your identity is built on memory, and memory is not nearly as trustworthy as you think. But then something even stranger happens. Because forgetting doesn't just remove moments, it removes versions of you. Think about who you were at 7, at 12, at 19, at 23, different fears, different dreams, different voices in your head. Entire personalities that once felt permanent. But now, you can barely access them. You remember facts about those versions, but not the full experience of being them. That person is fading. Not physically, mentally. A version of you once existed with total emotional reality. And now they survive only in fragments, and some versions are already gone forever. This is where memory becomes existential, because we tell ourselves a comforting story. That we are one continuous self, one person moving through time. But are we, really, or are we just a collection of surviving fragments, stitched together by memory, pretending to be whole? Because if memory creates identity, what happens when memory disappears? This isn't just philosophy. It's visible in diseases like dementia. A person can still breathe, still move, still speak. But when memory begins collapsing, families say something haunting. They're not the same person anymore. Think about that, not because the body changed. Because the remembered self began disappearing. And suddenly the question becomes terrifying. How much of you exists only because memory says it does? But memory has another dark secret. Some things refuse to leave, and this is where forgetting reveals its cruel logic. You forget ordinary Tuesdays, random breakfasts, small conversations. Harmless details vanish without resistance. But pain, humiliation, fear, trauma, those memories often stay, sharp, heavy, almost alive. Why? Because survival doesn't care about happiness. It cares about danger. Your brain remembers what might hurt you again. Not what made Tuesday pleasant, and that means something tragic. Some of the memories you'd gladly lose are the ones your brain fights hardest to keep. So yes, your mind erases most of your life, but sometimes it keeps exactly the things you wish it wouldn't. And suddenly forgetting doesn't feel random anymore. It feels selective, cold, strategic, built not for peace, but survival. And maybe that's the deepest truth here. This was never really about memory, it was about what humans are. We like to imagine ourselves as storytellers. Conscious beings collecting experiences, saving moments, building a life. But underneath that poetic idea is something far more mechanical. A survival machine, editing reality in real time. Deleting what it doesn't need, distorting what it keeps, protecting you. Even if it means hiding most of your existence from you. And maybe that's why remembering everything would be unbearable. There was once a man known for remembering nearly every day of his life in extreme detail. People imagine that sounds like a superpower. It wasn't. He described memory as a burden, an endless flood, a prison of detail. Because forgetting isn't just loss. It's relief, it's space, it's mercy without forgetting. The mind may never be able to move on. But that leaves us with one final disturbing thought, right now. As this moment happens, it already begins disappearing. The sound of this sentence, your exact feeling, this version of you, slipping away, quietly, without permission, and one day, entire years of your life will survive only as flashes, a face, a room, a smell, a feeling you can't explain, and then even those may fade. So maybe the real tragedy isn't that you forget most of your life. Maybe it's that you only realize how much was lost after it's already gone. You think your life is made of memories, but maybe it's made just as much by everything you were forced to forget.